Okay, well, hello there, and welcome to Inventory Management, a winning strategy during these uncertain times. My name is Chris Fair, the product manager here at POSIM. I've been here with POSIM for just over 5 years, and in that time, I've really gotten the opportunity to work with just about every aspect of our software. I'm excited to be bringing you this presentation today regarding inventory management. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, many business owners would tell you that running a business is all about profitability, but really the biggest challenge often ends up revolving around inventory management. This, of course, is by no means unrelated to profitability, because being able to consistently manage the flow of your best-selling, highest margin inventory is going to be really always central to the profitability of your business as a whole, really regardless of the situation you find yourself in. And this includes, and you could say even really is highlighted by the altered retail climate of the past 6 weeks or so, and probably going forward as well as things open back up. Now, we've all felt the impact of COVID-19. Production and distribution of many products have been all but stopped, and this has really added kind of an unforeseen layer of complexity to the set of questions that many retailers are now asking and facing in regards to their inventory. These questions include, do I have enough stock? If I wait to order things, am I going to miss out? What should I keep on hand? And really in regard to the crisis in general, how long will this climate last? These are all valid questions now that 2 months ago, most of us really were taking the answers to those for granted in a lot of cases. That has all changed, of course. Now, retail is about selling products. It's a process that revolves around your store's inventory. However, staying ahead of this process becomes impossible if you don't know if you can get more products, what the demands for those products are going to be like, or when those products will be in stock again. And really, depending on your existing inventory levels, you're going to need a way to constantly be assessing both your short and long-term inventory demands. In this time, retailers are really going to need to be able to lean heavily on their POS systems reporting to help them navigate back to a new normal. Recent reports indicate that the average U.S. retail operation has an inventory accuracy of around only 63%. However, if you're invested into a deep and fully featured point-of-sale system like POSIM, you should have access to really a stack of various reports and tools that are designed around making sure that store decision makers have access to the most complete picture of their inventory situation at all times. Peace of mind and a more efficient business are waiting for those who want to tackle their inventory head on and take this time to do so. Drawing on over 30 years of building software to help businesses accurately manage their inventory, POSIM's robust inventory management is really your ticket back to retail success. So really, what is what here? In times of crisis, retailers need to know not only how much inventory they have and which products have been selling the fastest in which areas. That's kind of always needing to be on retailers' radar, regardless of the retail climate they're operating in. But really also, it's more important now than ever to have a gauge for the type of demand to anticipate and really where you're going to be able to source products in a pinch. So to that end, really the best place to start is with an audit. To do this, you really want to start with an audit with the idea of building your comeback strategy from there. You'll want to get an accurate idea of your current stock levels, along with what you know for certain is on its way right now. And then on top of that, what you're going to still be able to purchase more of. That's really going to be the key at the beginning of this process. Take a physical inventory to make sure your on-hand numbers beat that 63% accuracy I mentioned earlier. Make sure your purchase orders are up to date in terms of what's been received, what's coming in, and maybe what's been canceled by vendors due to the current landscape, and still which orders need to be placed. A successful audit to give you a clear picture there is going to give you a significant edge in regards to planning. And if you've got a point of sale solution that's one that includes a deep selection of features to help you do this, you're really adding to your advantage even more there. Because when you look at it, your inventory really, when you think about it, is synonymous with money. You paid money for your inventory, and when you sell it, you get that money back with a return, of course. Those items on your shelves and those you've paid for that are still coming directly represent your capability to turn a profit. Therefore, just as you would want to account for all of your cash, so should you account for how much inventory you have in stock. This is going to help ensure accuracy, identify shrinkage, give you an idea how fast each item is moving, and tell you whether you have enough stock on hand to meet your forecasted projections. POSIM is a software that helps you do this, really cover all of this and more. And using a retail point of sale system like POSIM, which is built to contain inventory specific reports, as well as a full-fledged physical inventory module, this is really going to help you audit your inventory electronically, which is faster and far more efficient than maybe the traditional manual methods that are in use out there. In fact, recent studies have shown that even now, as pervasive as technology has become, here we are in the year 2020, that number is still around 46% when you look at small retailers who either don't track their inventory or are still using a manual method to do so. And of course, being in the 50%, 54% who does, can give you a decided advantage over the competition, really now more than ever. No need to crunch numbers with pencil and paper when your point of sale software is going to help you do that for you automatically. It's faster, more efficient, and really gives you a way to apply updates in an automatic fashion based on your counts rather than going through with pen and paper and auditing everything. So really, to get started, you want to develop a plan. An ideal inventory management plan guides how it all gets done, with intelligent purchasing and pricing to procedures covering receiving, inventory counts, and location tracking. Some items in your inventory may need special attention. For example, those clothes you just received before the shutdown. Those are probably going to be more on trend and are probably going to be expected to sell faster than the items you had last season. You'll want to know exactly what you have and be able to quickly work towards making your customers know that you're still in the game and you still have items that they're looking for. Now more than ever, really, it's important to pay attention to the market you're in. You'll want to network it with others in your industry, as well as make sure that you've got an up-to-date picture of the changing landscape in your market at all times. Reach out to that network of retailers that you're starting or that you have already, and start talking to other retailers and trade organizations. Compare notes and plan your inventory needs around those conversations. Using the proper inventory management strategies, you'll be able to regain control of your business and always know what's going on. Now, it's always important to target your marketing. You want to be nimble and create campaigns around what you have available. Those items that you know are going to be in high demand, make sure you feature them. Good inventory management systems will allow you to analyze how quickly any given SKU is moving, right down to the day and time that they were sold, that you brought them in. And this is going to provide you insights that tell you when you need to push slow-moving items with sales or discounts or bundling or special offers. Now, there are a few silver linings where your business is being forced to shut down its physical locations. One of the main ones is that retailers that maybe haven't taken the time or had the time to fully develop an online presence are now going to be able to divert more of their resources towards that. I've heard it said for a long time, and certainly have seen it play out to be true, that to really manage an effective e-commerce site, you need to be able to treat it like it's its own storefront. And I know this can be difficult for many retailers when they're already running one or more physical stores. Um, but now that most sales are being funneled through e-commerce platforms, it's more important than ever to make sure that you invest the proper time and make sure that your inventory availability remains accurate and stays updated. Integrating your brick and mortar inventory directly with your e-commerce website is really the ideal solution here, as it's going to allow you to automate order fulfillment, inventory quantity updating, and once you enter your inventory quantities, if your point of sale is integrated with your e-commerce platform solution, you can automate that process, transferring quantities between your in-store and online, just making sure those two entities stay in sync, and really being able to combine a deep point of sale and inventory management system with all those dedicated reports and inventory specific features that maybe an e-commerce platform isn't going to have to that extent. When you can combine that with an e-commerce storefront, you really get the best of both worlds. And that's kind of where POSIM helps fit in there and really can be a platform that lets you do that effectively. Now, this has been more of a presentation centered around inventory management, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention where customers fit in with all of this. It's important to remember that around 70% of customers would typically go buy an item from a competitor rather than wait really any amount of time for a back-ordered piece of inventory. And when you look at it from that standpoint, it's better to either have the item on hand, or if you are going to need to be back ordering items for a customer, do your best to make sure that scenario only happens when it's items that are likely going to be back ordered regardless of the store they order it from. Now, from a customer's point of view, it really helps if you have a solid inventory management plan in place. They may not see it when they're coming through your storefront or shopping online, but in the background, that's definitely serving you well by just helping you provide better customer services overall through a more efficient process in the store, to faster delivery, to low shipping charges, and really not running out of stock and being able to meet customer expectations more often. A plan is going to save you from challenges like overstocking, help you with loss prevention. Scroll back here. If you've got unorganized or cluttered spaces that make it easier for customers and even your own staff to maybe take items right from under your nose. And then administrative errors as well can be prevented a lot of times by if you're electronically managing your inventory with a POS software like POSIM, you can help cut down or even see where errors might be and help resolve maybe a count between, the inventory says it has this amount on hand, but you physically count it and it doesn't. POSIM and a system like it can really help you get a clear picture of where exactly you might be running into those extra stock issues. Now, can you imagine the mess you'd have in your retail business if you didn't manage your inventory? How much would that cost you? Efficient inventory management helps reduce costs. To that end, your goal should be to really only stock what you need. Items in stock mean more sales, plus you're able to cut storage space and potentially reduce your rent. And if you're using your point of sale to stay on top of what's moving and what just isn't, that really lets you come up with a plan to clear out dead inventory. Now, as far as what to do with the dead stock, if you've been in retail a while, you know how quickly things can go in and come out of style or popularity. Dead stock or excess inventory that isn't selling can really weigh your business down. So you want to do your best to order any products that may have limited popularity carefully. Those types of products can add value by way of their uniqueness. If you've heard of the long tail effect in marketing, where basically having a collection of slower selling but rarer stock to go along with the maybe more popular items, kind of down at the tail end of the popularity curve, lets you increase your appeal to a wider variety of customers. So those items do have value. But at the same time, you do want to keep an eye on how fast those less popular items are moving. And if you do end up with dead stock, be willing to move it or lose it. Remember that you're running a store, not curating a museum. Now, if you're at a loss for where to turn to offload some of that excess inventory, reach out and talk with others in your industry that maybe specialize in closeouts or even donate it for a tax write-off. Resist the temptation to hold on onto dead stock in the hopes that it'll eventually move. Or at the very least, just keep a token amount of it on hand. Keep in mind that what we said about back ordering earlier. If you do have to back order something, let it be one of these slower moving items. Remember, any stock that's not turning over quickly is taking up valuable floor or shelf space that could be occupied by something that does move faster. So don't let an excess of these items eat up valuable space or time. Now, as we mentioned a few slides back, it's important too to be able to reach out and re-engage your suppliers, or even to be willing to look for new ones as alternatives if the current ones are altering orders by necessity, because they're kind of in this situation too, or if they're canceling on you altogether. Look at this as an opportunity to hopefully expand your supply base and maybe explore new suppliers. You might even find some savings in the process. Now, regardless, your primary goal here should be to maintain access to products. While you may be used to selecting items based on cost, you do need to be exploring alternate suppliers to help alleviate risks in the event that a problem arises with your primary supplier. Access and reliability really now are going to be your deciding factors here if you're picking between two vendors. This includes exploring alternatives with your existing suppliers and finding what you need elsewhere potentially. And this can lead to new opportunities, such as finding new products to sell, which can turn into valuable new ways to appeal to your customers. Don't forget to look local. This can sometimes provide you with more control over your materials, speed up your time to market, and even require lower minimum buys sometimes to help you reduce overall costs. Good inventory management helps analyze sales patterns, implement accurate forecasting, prepare for the unexpected, and keeps your business operating and profitable. And the sooner you take control, the better positioned you'll be to navigate the uncharted waters that we're in today. Think about it. If you know how much inventory that you have at all times, and you know the cost to get it, and how much space and storage you need to keep it organized, and then on top of that, where it needs to be at all times, this really puts you in the driver's seat, even with the uncertainty that's kind of out there today. And to that end, you're really going to need to be able to leverage all of the resources you have at your disposal to be able to maximize the control you have over your inventory. And without question, having a deep, fully featured point of sale system like the one that POSIM offers can definitely go a long way towards making this possible. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you have questions, we'll be staying here on the chat feature for a little bit longer. And if you're a POSIM client and need assistance with anything discussed here today, definitely feel free to reach out to your client success manager. And then if you're not a POSIM client, thanks for attending. And certainly if you want more information about what POSIM can do for your business and what kind of features we offer, feel free to reach out to us at the phone number listed here on this last slide, or this email address presented here as well. We would love to chat and kind of help assess your needs. Thank you so much for attending, and everyone have a good day.